I really hope this isn't the first time you're watching me. You are probably thinking like, oh my god, she talks so much about nothing. True. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. I had a game plan for today and I realized after watering my plant collection this morning that actually I have a lot of anthurium that urgently need to be tended to in terms of a repot. Actually, we're gonna change things up and the Hoya video will be to come. Today's gonna be a very chilled anthurium chores video. Just gonna be like a chatty, do some plant chores with me kind of vibe. So let's go ahead and mix the new anthurium substrate I'm trying out. If you guys haven't seen my last video where I talked a lot about it, I'll go ahead and have it be up in one of these corners. This is actually not the grade of Orchiata that I intended to buy. This is Orchiata Power, not Power Plus. I ordered the big bag of Power Plus and it's still has not gotten here. I ordered it like over 2 weeks ago. I think it got held up in shipping. I just bought a bag of this on Amazon instead, and I got the Power instead of the Power Plus, but that's fine. The chunks look like they're gonna be okay. And so what I did for this is I rinsed all of the bark, and it's optional. You don't have to do it, but I just did it just because it gets a little dirty on your hands, that like powder. This is just a little bit cleaner to handle. Also, you don't have as hard of a time to get the bark wet down the road. We have approximately, I want to say like a gallon of this. We have the second ingredient, which is moss. So this is spag. Specifically, I actually have what it came in here. So this is the New Zealand, and the specific type is the classic or the AA. There is a premier AAA, which is like the good stuff. This is good enough for the mix that I'm trying to go for. It's worth your money to upgrade to the higher quality, not like the premier, but the classic is good just because there's not as much debris and it's much cleaner. I think the cheaper stuff just, yes, it has like a ton of twigs and all that kind of stuff in it, but also it just looks kind of dirty. Like, I don't know, it's been used before. I like this moss very much, so that's what we're going to be using. And then the third ingredient is chunky perlite. This stuff I got on Amazon. It doesn't say what grade it is. If I were to say it's between a grade 3 and a grade 4, and that's what it looks like. We are going to be mixing everything up here. So no real estimates here on how much I'm mixing, doing it just by eyeballing it. Ideally, you want to wear a mask, especially when you're handling perlite, in particular the tiny pieces, because that kicks up so much dust and you don't want to be inhaling that. This is not the most powdery perlite. I'm just lazy and I'm not going to get a mask, but just PSA, you should be wearing something. Mainly you want to have orchid bark be the primary component, and then after that it's going to be perlite, and then we're just going to add like a few handfuls of moss and just see how that looks. I'm just going to mix it all up. And if there's clumps of moss, go ahead and just tweeze it out. I think we're gonna need a little bit more moss. I didn't do the most perfect job combining it all together, but if we need to mix more, we will. So this is kind of the gist that we're going for. This is the mix. I have 3 anthurium in front of me that I want to transition into this mix, and then the rest we are just gonna do rehabs that are in 100% moss, and then we're gonna change it to this substrate. The 3 anthurium I have in front of me is my Dressleri. So this has basically seen better days. The drop-in humidity really kind of took a beating on it, and also right now it's pretty dry, so I'm definitely gonna have to give it a good water. This is its newest leaf. It is warped because again, this leaf started to expand in ambient before I threw it in a prop box. However, it has an offset, so that's cool. I'll be able to have 2 of these plants down the road, which is exciting. The next one that I want to change the substrate for is the anthurium Carla. This is the district cross with an RA8. This I got from Buzz Plants. This is an old leaf, and then it sprouted 2 new growth points. This is one of them, and then this is the other one of them. And I really, really love how round and fat these leaves are. They're really adorable and cute. Gonna get it out of this mix. And then the last one is my BVEP. It does have an emergent, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get it out of it because why not? And this is what the new emergent looks like. Very, very dark so far, and I don't know how much it's gonna expand. Ooh, the camera's actually picking up how reflective it is. Ugh, this is why I love BVEPs or Antilochiais, because of just how shiny and all those colors that they turn in the sun. Really, really fun. We will just start with this one. Ooh, this one smells a little rotty. I didn't expect this one to be a rehab. I feel like I just did a bunch of rehabs in my last video, so I guess the trend continues. Oh no, how many wicks are there's 3? I have 3 wicks in here. What is wrong with me? There's 3 wicks that I kept in here. Well, no wonder it rotted. All these wicks were just absorbing way too much moisture. Definitely some rotty roots I see, but then there's also some green healthy roots. So that's probably why I didn't fully realize that this plant was rotting in certain places. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it under the tap. So after I rinsed it, I decided it's not gonna be like a full rehab. There's still some good roots left. So I am gonna take off this leaf here because as you can see, it kind of started to melt and then it's pretty much broken at the stem. So I'm gonna just take this one off and have these 2. The roots down here at the bottom are looking okay, so I'm just gonna put it in a 3.5 inch container, and I won't put it in 100% moss. I will put it in this mix since the roots aren't totally shot. Not exactly how I wanted to kick off this video, but here we are. I was actually a week ahead of my upload schedule, and that was so nice, you guys, to not feel the pressure of having to upload anything just because I had new content all there and ready to go. And then this week I got sick and I couldn't film when I normally do. So now we're basically back to having to upload the week right before, which, at least it gets me to react to you guys in real time. When you're seeing this, I had just uploaded the plant updates where I kind of like showed you around my collection and all that kind of stuff. A couple of you guys said that you wanted to try out this new mix together with me and then we'll kind of find out together if it works or not. So I think that's pretty cool. We will be testing new stuff together. That's awesome. And some of you also said that you kind of use components of these ingredients too, which is nice. So it seems like I was on the right track with this mix, which makes me even more excited for it. I want to show you guys one thing before we move on to the next one. So watering, this is why I kind of love this mix. I'm gonna try to show you without spilling water everywhere. This is how airy the mix is. Okay, you watching? I just like love how quickly it drains through there. That just means that there's so much airflow happening in here. And you would think that's a bad thing because I remember a lot of the content like early plant YouTube, I would always watch the creator like try to pack it in as tightly as possible. And I mean, for some things I can understand that, but I don't think anthurium really love to be like tightly packed in like that. So far, I've been checking all of the roots for the plants that I've transitioned and they look so good. I have so many new roots forming, so really loving it so far. That is the first plant, the BVEP. Let's move on to the second one and hope that this also doesn't have rot. I'm up for anything at this point. No, this does not. Off the bat. No, which is nice. I think it's because it was mostly pawn. Yeah, there is some tree fern in here, but it's mostly pawn, so I think that's kind of why it was saved. And there is another wick in here. I really did not like removing these wicks at all. I remember I had a comment of a person that's like, I can't believe you didn't remove that wick. You know what? It's kind of painful breaking off roots connected to the wick, but here you go. I did it for you. Let's see what it looks like. So you see, I can technically take this one off right now, but I think I'm gonna let it root out a little bit more before I do that. Aside from that, the roots look really, really good. I'll go ahead and do the same thing with this, going to rinse them off, and we will be back. Oh, right, we are back. Pot is rinsed. Roots are rinsed, and let the repotting commence. What other things did I want to say? Yes, last video also, the grow tent, I kind of said that I was on the fence about getting a grow tent, and you guys convinced me. I mean, honestly, I didn't really need that much convincing seeing the results that I had in higher humidity. So you guys just kind of like poked me over the fence, to be honest. I want to know your guys' opinions on which grow tent I should get. I'm really leaning towards getting the AC something. I'll go ahead and put what it is here. I know like Mars Hydro, and then there's also like some other brands now that do them, but I kind of want a slightly higher tech one where you can plug in all of your fans and grow lights and all of that into a computer. And I believe that company that I want to buy from is like a tech-based company, so I would assume that the technology behind their grow tent is sound and it's not a grow company trying to be tech. It's the other way around, if that makes sense. From the research I've done, that specific grow tent has really good reviews. They are like slightly pricier, not anything crazy compared to what else is out there. However, I don't mind, like, see, my mentality with trying to buy new equipment, if I'm already gonna pay, like, say, for example, like $300 for something, I'd rather just pay an extra $100 if I'm going to shell out the cash anyway. That's my theory on it. If you guys have heard of that, or if you own that, how do you like it? Let me know. It's really funny because my boyfriend, whose room I am going to put this in, his computer room, the only objection he had was not me dominating his space, but that it was going to have like this bright grow light, because that's what he hates when he's on his computer and trying to game, is like these bright lights. And I told him like, no, it's like completely closed. You're not going to see the grow light at all. And he's like, oh, okay, that's fine. This is his concern, not the fact that you're going to have like a 3 by 3 foot box in your room, but just that there's no light that's going to be coming from the box. I think it's just so funny, his priorities sometimes. So that was an easy thing to convince him. I thought I would have to try a bit harder. So it looks like this is all ready to go, and I'm already feeling really good about this. You can see a lot of the roots on the side, and this is the second one, the Carla, out of the way. We are going to move on to the Dressleri, and then we'll get into repotting the rehabs. So this is, in case you're wondering, this is the black dress crossed with the RG F2 dark clone from Anthuriums. Very dry, but not rotted. I mean, the roots still look... Yeah, no, they look fine. They look fine. I thought it was actually a lot worse than that, but it's not. Another thing is I noticed in the tree fern pond mix, the roots that would grow would be very small for anthurium roots. They would not be like these large chunky ones, you know, that everyone loves. They would be like these stringy roots, but then in moss, they grow like these fat, furry roots and they look so healthy. I guess my MO is always leaving the wick in here. There is a little bit of dry rot, but not much. You can see it right here. This is what dry rot looks like. It's kind of like a husk almost, where the roots that used to be inflated completely deflated, and now you just got this hollow casing of a root. That is dry rot. Sometimes I do want to make more educational content, like how to deal with dry rot and all that kind of stuff, but honestly, I feel like the majority of people that watch me aren't like super new to the hobby. They're kind of people that have been doing it for a year or so, and so putting out that kind of content probably wouldn't be popular. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. From the feedback that I got from you guys on what kind of content that you wanted to see, a lot of people just really enjoyed plant chore videos. And I honestly agree with you guys. The content that I do watch the most of is just people that I like plus doing plant chores. It's really that easy. Okay, let me actually rinse this off. I noticed as I was washing the roots that actually there's two other offsets forming. So this is the one that I showed you, right, with the leaf already coming out. And then there's two lower ones. So it grew this one. They're pink, so they're easier to see. It grew this one here. And then it is also growing this offset down here, which honestly makes me excited because if all of the offsets actually grow leaves and grow roots, that means I will have 4 black Dressler. In case I mess this one up or if I want to sell them, I can totally do that, which makes me so excited. Gotta love anthurium for that. Plant chores. You guys wanted to see plant chores as like content. I totally agree. For like a month there, I kept seeing people talk about how they were like bored of seeing plant YouTubers do plant chores, you know, and how it was just like too much and unoriginal. And I saw this like a few times that month of either people like commenting on it or, you know, on a few platforms. There isn't anyone in particular that I have on my mind. It's just this is a thing that I remember seeing. I agree to disagree. The type of content that I love that a lot of people that I enjoy to watch make is just their boring plant chores, you know, but to me, I don't find it boring because it feels like you're catching up. It feels like, you know, you're having a conversation. You can do plant chores at the same time with them. You just get to put your feet up and watch another person take care of their plants. And something about that exchange just feels so special and I want to say intimate, but that is probably the wrong word to use here. I don't mean it in that kind of connotation, but just something about it is very relaxing, I think. Yes, it is exciting and fun when there is new content out there that people haven't done before. I love to make new content that people haven't seen before on this platform or maybe is not as common. However, I just love going back to basics and I think good old plant chores, especially long form content, like an hour of plant chores, when you're in the mood for it, there isn't anything that scratches that itch for me. I feel like I can't get burnt out on that kind of content, not only consuming it, but also creating it, because I am literally doing things that I would be doing by myself, except we get to do them together. And I can't imagine anything cooler than that. Then again, I'm not a very cool person because my favorite hobbies are arguably hobbies of a person twice my age. So I'm not the expert on cool things, let me tell you. All in all, I hope you guys don't mind, but since I will not be doing a lot of content around buying plants, it's going to be more so taking care of plants, which just basically means lots of plant chores coming at you. And I hope you guys are on board with that. It's not going to be all of it. Anyway, Okay, here we are. Feeling much better about this. Now I gotta go find me some plants I want to get out of moss. This is a good one. This was in a prop box behind me. This is another anthurium plant. This is the FTG Self crossed with a Dorito port. Gist of this one is hopefully it'll be more of a flat sinus type of plant. This is the oldest leaf it has. This is the first leaf it gave me in moss, and then this is the second leaf it gave me in moss. I think this one's a little bit smaller than this one, so it just tells me I've kept it in moss a little bit too long, because the downside of 100% moss is you can't give it nutrients via the water very much, because then you're just going to drown out the plant since moss holds on to so much water. So let me just tease this out of here and not break any roots in the process, hopefully. Okay, looks like we have some work to do ahead of us. While I'm asking you guys your opinion on things, because this is apparently something I love to do. So now that I have this new camera, I have my old camera just kind of chilling doing nothing. Should I use it for another angle? I've been contemplating on that. So for example, for this video, you would see this angle of my face, right? But then maybe I could have my older camera do like a closer, up close angle where you can actually see this more. I thought about keeping two cameras just to do that. However, do you think that would be too distracting? Because I'm up for trying it. However, you know, it's obviously a lot more work, because not only do I need to edit this video, I would need to edit two videos and then combine them together. So if you guys aren't interested in two viewpoints, then I kind of don't even want to do it. However, if you guys just want to test it out for a video down the road, I'm game, and we can kind of see if we like it. I feel like if I'm not going to do that, there's no reason for me to keep my old camera, and therefore I would like to sell my old camera. Let me know what you want me to do about that. Does anyone else get itchy when they're working with moss? I don't know why. It like always makes my nose itch. So while I'm doing this, I need to tell you this crazy story of what happened. Okay, well, before I tell you that story, I need to backtrack and just clarify something that I didn't know would happen, but I guess now here we are. When I uploaded the plant addiction video, I didn't expect to be the plant buying police, but now I've talked to several people since that video came out, and all of them in some capacity said like, oh yeah, I bought a plant, but you know, oops, kind of thing. The first time it happened, I didn't really think anything of it, but then after the third time, I'm like, do people think I'm the plant buying police now? Because as a dietitian, I'm called the food police all the time, but I don't want to be the plant buying police. Me making that video and you agreeing with the points that I made in that video doesn't mean that we will never buy a plant. That is not what that means. By us agreeing that this is a thing and that we might be impacted by said thing, that doesn't mean that we get to opt out of buying plants. Just let's be mindful about how much money we're spending, how many plants we're buying in, and why we're doing that in the first place, and if that's the right move to do. I hope you guys don't expect me to never bring a new plant on here, because I have already disappointed you in this story I'm about to tell, but also like I got a new plant, I think it was either the week of or the week after that video came out. I am not on a plant ban. I don't think people should be on plant bans. If you want to be on a plant ban, that's great. That's not what I intended when making that video. I just remembered a comment I got on that video. So the majority of the feedback was amazing and nice, and thank you so much for all of your comments. If you did drop a comment, I got one comment that was not very nice, and honestly, I don't really take much stock in those kinds of comments. I don't think I've truly gotten a hate comment before, and now saying that, I will get a hate comment. Oh my god, these are okay. So what I classify as a hate comment is like something that's like so insanely mean and personal that in me reading this, there's no other way to take it than this person strongly dislikes me. And I don't think I've ever gotten a comment where like that was my reaction off of it. Have I gotten comments where I read them and thought, oh, that person got up and chose to have a tude? Sure, that I do get those 100%. What this person said in that comment was something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she's like, back up, sis. I don't remember the last time I was called sis, but okay, sis. The core of what she said was basically that I shouldn't be giving people more reasons to hate themselves. And that, I will say, got the strongest reaction out of me of any comment that I've had before on this channel, because it's one thing to, you know, go after me about like whatever my appearance, anything I say or do, but it's like a completely entirely different thing for me to basically accuse me of hating on people. And I know this is the internet and there's no way to show this, but I am not a hateful person at all. And I don't think she watched the video, because if she would have seen that that video was not hate whatsoever. My guess is she just saw the title and the thumbnail and just drew conclusions, dropped that comment and dipped. There's no way that somebody would view that video and think that I was hating on other people, because literally that would mean I would be a big hypocrite and hate myself. That one threw me for a loop. It reminded me of something I saw from another creator. This is a totally not the same niche. If you like books, you would have heard of Jack Edwards. He's basically the most popular booktuber, I want to say. He's got over 1 million subscribers and he's very, very big on this platform. It was either the end of 2024 or the beginning of January, where at the end of the video, he basically said that the reason why his content was different this year was because he literally had so much hate over his opinion, over his appearance, over the way that he talked, the comments he made, the comments that he didn't make, that literally he was just trying to avoid all of that, that he would take pieces of him out of his content, like here and there, and then the more that he did it, he turned into somebody that he didn't even know at the end of the day. And while I will never know how that feels like, because I will never have a channel as large as his, I relate to it in the very tiny way that I can say we have literally no control of how people will interpret what we put out there. This is a thing that no matter how many disclaimers we put, that people will still take you the wrong way, and you have to be okay with that. That is a very difficult thing. Even if you try to interact with that person and to clarify yourself over comments, it's like the damage is already done. People will just take your words and go with it and will put their own interpretation on it. You don't get the benefit of the doubt on YouTube. Okay, sorry, I got on a long tangent there. Let me just show you. It's all nicely repotted. You can see the roots. This is quite the upsize, and hopefully that plant will start getting bigger. Okay, let me pull out another plant so I can continue what I'm saying but not do nothing. We have a new plant. This is another anthurium plant. I did not intend for a lot of these plants to be from the same seller. A BVEP crossed with a Carla. This is the specific ones. This is the newest leaf, and usually I would not touch a plant that has a new emergent like this. However, this is an emergency, because look at how many roots are just escaping everywhere. I think this plant needs to be upsized ASAP. What was I saying? YouTube is not a space for people that like to be liked. Because if you are trying to please everyone, that is an impossible feat, and you will literally create a prison for yourself trying to be liked, because you will take away parts of yourself that people love. And ooh, look at those roots. Yum. Well, not yum. Well, they do kind of look like noodles, so maybe yum. And I did kind of notice that about his content too, was like he literally would just say, "Here is the book. This is what the book is about," and like no opinions whatsoever, and just try to be as bland about it as possible. And the problem with being as bland as possible, people will not remember you. It's just if you don't evoke emotion out of people by being a person with a personality, then it's going to be that much harder, yes, for people to hate on you, but also for people to like you too, because frankly, you don't know anything about that person until they become opinionated and do things that are unique and different. I know a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, like anyone can do YouTube, and that's true. Anyone can upload on YouTube. It is a completely different thing to upload on YouTube and be happy long term on this platform. This is just my 2 cents of doing this for a year now. Is I've learned a lot of things, and I can basically talk about a lot about content creation and stuff, but I don't know if you guys would be into that or not, because there's just a lot of aspects: emotional, psychological, cost wise, all of that. I gotta stay on track here. For some reason, I'm very tangential today. I'm not sure why. Why I said that was because we were talking about, oh yes, plant bans. Yeah, I'm not on a plant ban. I have bought plants. I bought a lot less plants. I think in December, I only brought in like a handful of plants. In January, I brought in one plant. It was an anthurium Queen of Hearts, and oh my god, I can't wait to show that to you guys because I got it off of Tazula and it is a beast. I really missed my last Queen of Hearts. That was it for January, and now in February. Oh, here is what I was trying to say. Oh, I am so all over the place today. I bought a plant today, and I want to tell you the story of the plant that I bought because it's wild. Okay, so I was doing my morning thing on Saturday. I noticed Creaky Shed, which is a person that I bought before. She has great plants, by the way. She posted an IG reel of this beautiful Tazula red crystal, having just done my taxes and early, mind you, so pat on the back for that. I'm gonna save like 95% of my tax return, but I did devote a tiny portion of my tax refund to a plant that really spoke to me. And I was going to tell myself, like, whenever that happens. So it can be now, it can be a month from now, more than that, who knows, right? It happened today. So that plant just spoke to me. I saw it on her website, and also like what she said about that plant. Like, yes, the plant's very, very adorable. I'll go ahead and post a picture of it. It's got bright pink veins. It's very cute and round. I love how round it is, and I love that partially fused sinus. The sinus is half fused, and I thought that was so cute. All of that was just ticking the boxes for me, right? And then I went down to the description, and and it also has the Tazula tag still attached to it. She, in her description, basically talked about where red crystals come from. And if you don't know, red crystals came from Tim Anderson. He is no longer here with us, but he basically created the first red crystal that a lot of the breeders that now breed red crystals, they used his plant in the beginning. And this is a very hot take because, and it really shouldn't be because this is actually what happened. It shouldn't really be controversial, but somehow it is, and somehow people get very emotional about that. I'm not here to continue the drama, it just is. And the fact that she put that so bluntly in the description, like I knew that I liked to buy plants from her, but just to know that she was like a very honest person on top of that just sold the deal for me for that plant. So as I was going through checkout, I had this feeling. Something told me in my gut, like, you need to hurry because someone else is going to buy this plant. And that is such a weird feeling. A voice literally popped in my head and told me that somebody is buying this plant at the same time you are. She had this plant up for like almost a day on her site. It's not like she just posted it. Lo and behold, when I checked out, I couldn't check out because it said your plant has sold out, and somebody did buy that plant at the exact same moment that I was trying to buy it. And I'm like, how weird is that? Like, what a weird coincidence. I was like gutted. Honestly, I kind of had like the drop feeling where it's like you were excited and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess it's not my plant. And usually when that happens, I can get over it real quick. I'm like, okay, whatever. But this time I didn't. I try to go about my morning and it just kept popping in my head on how right it felt. And I was just like, no, it's my plant. And honestly, never in my life have I felt this strongly about a plant that I couldn't buy. But here we were. And so I decided to message her on Instagram and be like, hey, I know long shot, but do you have another one of those? So she messages me back and she's like, you know what? The weirdest thing happened. Two of you, so there was another person, you hit the buy button at the exact same second, and that caused a glitch on my website, and none of you got that plant. The website just glitched out and I still have it. I will go ahead and repost it and you two will know, and whoever gets it, that'll be their plant, right? And I was like, no frickin' way. I have a second chance at getting this plant. What? And also we bought it at the exact same time that the website glitched. What are the plant gods telling me right now? Well, I think that they're telling me that I need to buy this damn plant. So I like literally got out my laptop and I was refreshing, and long story short, this is already a long story, but I checked out and I got it. I've never had such a crazy story attached to a plant before, but I am over the moon stoked on getting this. Not to be dramatic, that is a dramatic story. On the off chance the person who tried to get that plant is watching this, sorry, but it was my plant. This is what I mean. You need to buy plants that make you feel something. Don't mindlessly purchase plants just because. Buy plants that you have a good feeling about, that you will love, because that is the difference. So long story long, I will continue to buy plants. You should continue to buy plants. Let's be smart about this, shall we? Okay, so this is the Bebop Carla in her new setup. Love it. Let's do one or two more plants, then we'll call it a good repot sesh. This is totally unrelated, but I just want to show you this leaf. Look how magnificent this leaf is. It's so good. I love the veins so much. When I talk about how fat these roots are, like, do you see this chunky root right here? It is thick as you were. We are gonna end out on two green hues plants. This is the No ID Ralph Hyman Fort Sherman. And we got a long boy here. So this is my hand for comparison. Sometimes it's hard to kind of like get size thing, but look at how long this is. It's quite funny. Well rooted. So let's take this out. I think this is by far my most chatty repot I've ever done. I really hope this isn't the first time you're watching me. You are probably thinking like, oh my god, she talks so much about nothing. True. Cannot deny that I like to ponder things that are meaningless probably in the long run. Ooh, by the way, we are gonna watch The Substance tonight. And I, for one, am very excited. From what you guys have said, you said that it was not very gross. So I will trust you guys that it is not gross and I will watch it and I will report back. And thank you so much for all of the movie and shows that you guys talked about. I have so much that I want to watch. You guys have pretty good taste because the stuff that you guys were talking about seemed really interesting. There's some, I don't know if it's like tree fern in the middle of this. I don't think I'm gonna rinse it though. I think it's fine. Oh no, I accidentally broke off a good chunk of roots right here. That sucks whenever you do that. Downside of moss right there. That is probably a good sign to tell me to stop picking at this and just put it in a pot. We're gonna go with one of these tall boys since this is a tall boy. Ooh, I recently read a really good book. I don't know if any of you guys are avid readers, but if you are, it's called Piranesi. I think that's how you say it. I have heard good things about this book for a really long time, but I really dragged my feet on reading it just because I thought it was just going to be like a book that you have no idea what's happening the whole time until the end. And those books are really hard for me to read all the way through. I can't be totally in the dark. Like, you need to at least give me crumbs to kind of put together what is the world that we're in. However, that book did it so right. Like, yes, you are in a completely different world and you kind of don't know what's going on. The author does such a good job at kind of giving you clues that you're kind of putting the puzzle together in your head as you're reading. And oh my god, it is like, that book is unlike anything I have read before. It's very unique and I loved it. If you guys are up for a read that's a little different but that you'll probably love, highly suggest you to read that book. Knocked my socks off. Oh, another thing that I just thought of, so about the grow tent, a lot of them offer carbon filters. We don't need a carbon filter, right? Because I know it's for plants, but it's not like the plants that we grow. It's, you know, like the ganj, the wacky tobacco. I can't believe I just said that on YouTube. It's not like houseplants, right? So I don't think we would need a carbon filter. Please let me know on if I need to buy one. I really hope I don't. That one was easy. So this one is all done. We're just moving right along. Love it. Okay, last plant that I want to do before I leave you guys is going to be this beautiful one. This one you will have seen in my last video. This is the dress crossed with the ace of spades crossed with the pap. And it's rooted in here and it is time to take it out. I just want to show you also, now that we have the light on it, can you see that like greeny blue shift to it? A deep green, but it's like an emeraldy blue green. It's really amazing. You can't see anything else other than that gorgeous color. Okay, anyway. What shall I put you in? Going back to the plant addiction video, I was so surprised and really touched that you guys would share your history, not even the plant addiction, but like real addiction, alcohol and drug addiction. You guys totally didn't need to do that, but just the fact that like you trusted me and the community to like hold that space for you. You felt comfortable enough to share with us. Thank you so much for that. I really was not expecting people to share their experiences with their past addictions. On the topic on books, this is kind of like where I'm going to tie this in. I recently read this book that I also quite enjoyed. It wasn't quite like a 5-star read like Piranesi was. I will need to head downstairs to kind of pick it up, but I usually don't tab anything as I'm reading books. I added a post-it note for this one particular part of the book that just really made me feel something, and coincidentally it was about addiction. That book deals with grief and addiction. I really want to read that to you. All right, we're done. Look at this beautiful leaf. I think this is a nice upsize for it. I'll go ahead and clean this up and we'll come back. This is the tray that I have. I just gave all of these a good drink and I'm just gonna leave them on here for a bit to absorb whatever water they want. Let's finish out the video by I want to read this part of this book to you guys. So this is the book that I'm talking about. It's called Blue Sisters by Coco Meller, and this is the first book of hers that I read, and I really love the way that she writes. So this is the part that I want to read to you. This is just kind of like talking about AA, and there was a character in the book that did end up going to AA in the past, and so this is kind of like what she said about people that go up and share their stories with addiction. So it reads, "That was the magic of the fellowship. When it worked, the realization that the parts of yourself that were the most hidden, the most shameful, were what connected you most deeply to others. You were never an outsider, never alone." I had read this book the month before and just going through your comments on that upload, and just, talking about your experiences with addiction and how other people commented how they were not alone in this. And it just really made me think about this quote. So hope you guys don't mind that I shared that, but so true. Some of like the deepest struggles that we have, somehow we have the tendency to always think that we're alone in our pain and that nobody can understand it, and no one else has had these lows like I has had my lows. We almost get to a point where like that pain is who we are. It's ours to bear and ours alone. And I don't think that's true. I think that you would be surprised at how many people out there know exactly how you feel, have been through things that are, if not exact, quite comparable to what you've been through, and to basically don't identify with that pain too much, because I feel like that makes you more alone in the world and more isolated. You're honestly never alone. And one of the most beautiful things that we have access to is each other. So why not find people to lean on? Because honestly, sometimes they might surprise you, without getting too deep, but I feel like at the end of my videos, I always get too deep. I mean, I guess this is just the type of person I am, and take it or leave it. Thank you so much for sharing those parts of yourself. I will try to honor that and continue to be as honest and open, and yeah, hold space for that, because I think that's amazing. And yeah, y'all are the best. I love you. Thank you for bearing with me for this extremely chatty video, and a video all about anthurium. There will be a Hoya one coming very, very soon. And I hope that you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.